I'll wait for a couple of you to get in here. We're going to go through some projects today. I'll show you. $39.41 Cambridge. Boom. Nobody's on this early. Huh. Crosses these things out. St. Louis, man. Look at that. That was all me. Hey, hey. Who's out there? You hit me in the comments. I'm waiting on a couple more people to get in here first. Just looking at old projects. Rough road here. This is going through 12 projects over seriously a decade that brought me to the millionaire mark. It's weird how it works. Just waiting on a couple more people to hop in here. Just waiting on a couple more people to hop in here. What's going on? Looking through old projects today. Get started in just a couple minutes here. Starting at 9:30 my time. That's 3 minutes from now. Two minutes now. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you the exact road that I took to reach a millionaire status. That's 12 projects over seriously 10 years. It's going to be weird because it takes a long time to reach that first milestone. And I'll show you right after that in the next like 2 to 3 years, I basically 5x'd that. And so I'm going to go through each project because guys, all of you are going to have a tough road. It's not easy to get started. All of the pains come early on. And all of that pain is intuition and skills that you're building. Knowledge times experience equals skills. And once you have the skills, you're able to expand quickly. Like I said, took almost a decade to get to a millionaire status. And the next less than 3 years after that, I 5x'd it. So what you can do with skills is absolutely amazing. You're in total control of your future. I'm doing this one a little bit early today because my wife says I have to be home because it's my birthday today. So this is the birthday special. All right, so number one, and I'm going to pull these up on Zillow. So we have Cambridge Crossing. I bought this house in St. Louis when I was, probably 21 years old or something like that. And this was like right after the market had come back to life after the 2008 crash. So I think I started looking in maybe 2010, 2009. I think I was out there on a lot of different houses. And you guys probably know this if you have already started or you're getting started, that you don't really know what you want at first. You don't know what your buy box is. So you're just looking at a lot of things. I remember going through lots of different projects out there or lots of different houses. And I would see things, this is after a lot of houses had gotten foreclosed on. So there were houses that were just torn up because people were obviously pissed. They were getting kicked out of their houses. So you'd see houses that were absolutely destroyed by the people getting foreclosed on, hammers in the walls and kind of things. And I remember walking through one and, I got out of the house and I was like, why the hell am I itching so much? And sure enough, look down my legs and there's fleas crawling all over the place. That's what it was like in those times. And finally I found this house here. It was, I don't know why it's knocked out like this or blacked out like this, but, just like a regular house in a suburban type of neighborhood right outside of St. Louis. And basically the bank owned this property and I made an offer on it. It was on the market for $165, I think. I made an offer of $150, and with the plan of that I would be able to do like an inspection and then I'd be able to get the price down a little bit more. I found out that banks don't negotiate at all. They have, it's actually a really good tactic. I tried to prod them to go down on the price. They didn't care, but they ended up accepting my offer for $150. I went in this house and I did some really basic stuff. I did what I could do personally. And I actually lived in the house while I was doing it, as you'll find throughout the first, basically decade of my career here. I lived on all of the job sites. And I did some landscaping because I had landscaping experience. I changed out hardware. I did paint. And that was about it. Then I bought that house with an FHA loan, so I put 3% down. I had planned on living there for a year because that's what you have to do with an FHA loan. I was working in the area at the time, had a job, and I used to manage gyms, believe it or not. I started as a personal trainer, moved to manage personal trainers, and then I managed the gyms myself. And right at that time, I got asked to go manage a gym in a different area, Omaha, Nebraska. So I moved and I put a tenant in that house, wanted to hold on to it, put a tenant in it, moved to the next spot, got really tied up in my career because I was I was 21 years old. I was making 6 figures of income, and that was pretty great. And so I was really focused on that at the time. And you guys have probably heard this story before, but I was in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I was running gyms, and I had eventually gotten asked to run multiple gyms in that area. So I learned the corporate way here, but I was at a Subway in Omaha, Nebraska, And if you guys don't know, that's where Warren Buffett lives. And Warren Buffett is known for being a cheapskate like myself. And anyway, I'm sitting in the parking lot of this Subway. I see a black Cadillac pull up, and I swear to you, Warren Buffett got out of that thing with, whatever his posse was. Old man with, white. I mean, it looked exactly like him. I still don't know for sure it was him, but I remember sitting in the truck and I'm like, are you serious that I got pulled away into this corporate thing, and I'm giving the best hours of the best years of my life to somebody that I don't even know? I'm making them all kinds of money. Why don't I take these skills that I've earned, through blood, sweat, and tears, and go do my own thing with it? And, I had already bought this one house, and so and at that time I then got moved to Colorado for the job, and I immediately bought Elliott Street, which is a triplex. It's going to be a little bit funky if I look for it on here, but I immediately bought this triplex. I got it for $500,000. And since I moved, I was able to buy it with another FHA loan. So I got my second FHA loan, and actually on this one, so you're seeing 950 square feet, because this is one of the 3 units. Okay, bought the whole thing for $500,000. And I did the 203K rider on top of this. That means that they actually, give me a construction loan as well. So I put 3% down on the $500,000 to buy the property, plus the $50,000 for the renovation. So right now I have that Cambridge Crossing. That was $150,000. I still own that at the time. And then I bought Elliott Street here for $500,000. And then I got a $50,000 construction loan. Learned a lot of lessons here, guys. I got a contractor who, you have to use a contractor that was approved by the FHA, had some sort of certificate. And I had no clue what I was doing. As I told you, I was working like the corporate thing. And so I thought you managed people like you do in the corporate world, all the leadership books and all that kind of stuff. But I found out quickly, man, there's a big difference between managing people when you're actually the in between the corporate and the person. And you can kind of like good cop, bad cop, and not that that's like great leadership, but when you are your own business, you are the guy, you're the corporation and the middleman. And it's a different world because you're dealing also with small business owners, these contractors, and it's just a different type of management. And truly, it took me years to figure that out. In fact, I didn't even realize how fleeced I had gotten on this $50,000 renovation I did on this 203K loan. But anyway, ultimately, I was renting out the ones. So 2 of the 3 units I had this contractor do work on. I was able to get those rented out. I was living in the 3rd one as I was fixing it up. So I was fixing that one up myself, learning how to do these things as we went. And ultimately, I was able to finish that one up. And then I moved right on to my next one, which was a duplex, Cherokee. And I bought this one for $220,000. So just mind you, at this point, I'm owning all of these. So I got loans and I'm renting them out because I have my corporate job. That's giving me my short-term cash of, to pay the grocery bills and stuff. So I buy Cherokee and I do all the work myself on this one. Actually, my old man comes and helps me. Probably did $20,000 because I did the work myself. I'd go to my day job and then I'd come back, sleep on the floor of this place as I was working on it all night, as much as I could stay awake. And same thing, I rented this one out, and each one of these places, funny enough, I bought them thinking, okay, well, I'm going to buy these and then I will live in one of the units and rent the other ones out. But every time, still to this day this happens to me, but every time I would get to the end, I'd be like, well, I could just rent this one out and then make that money. I'll go sleep on the floor of somewhere else. So that's what I continue to do. It's funny because I just built an office building that I was going to, build for myself. But as soon as I figured out how much I could rent it for, I was like, oh gosh, I think I'm just going to rent that thing out. So Cherokee. And then after that, I was making pretty good income from the rentals, especially because of the way that I did it. I kept my costs low and such. And I was ready to make the jump. At this point, I still had the corporate job. And quite honestly, looking back, would have been nice if I would have stayed there a little bit longer, because it's really easy to get loans when you're bankable. Bankable means that, the bank will give you money, because I think I was making like $120,000 to $130,000, maybe even more with bonuses and such. Banks really like that. They like to see that consistent income. I had good credit, and I was able to replenish the cash to put down payments on this second duplex that I bought. I had to put a 20% loan, 20% down, which was a little bit over $40,000 plus the construction, and I had the money to do it. So that was really the easy way. I probably could have done that a few more times, but I was itching to make the thing my full-time job. So I decided to buy a flip, and this is where I bought this terrible house here. Okay, you can see it was. These are some of the Elliott Street, the triplex. This is the unit that I lived in, and I actually blew out this ceiling. I just kept taking bigger jobs on. Like, I did this weird looking shower. This was the second duplex, just did weird stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I bought this crap hole here. This was the first flip that I was going to do. And actually, my plan was to take the roof off, build a second story. I had no clue what I was getting myself into. And I was going to do all this work myself. Actually, my old man came and helped me. Here was the plan for what we were going to do with that house. This was going to be a flip. There's a picture of my old man. It looks a lot younger than he is now. He's 70-something. Okay, so this house actually, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done any of this. I would, it was a livable house, but I bought it for $150,000, okay, in Denver, in a hot area, and I was going to blow the roof off, build the second story, kind of do an addition on the first level as well, and it went really well, guys, no doubt. I learned so much. I'm pulling this up if I can get it here. I learned so much about construction, and I can't say that I should have done it any differently. However, in hindsight, I realized that the money that I made off of that, it was because the market was increasing so fast at the time that I probably would have made the same amount of money had I bought the house for $150,000, which was a phenomenal deal on that house, and just sat on it for the 2 years. It took me 550 days straight. I worked. I didn't take Christmas off, didn't take Thanksgiving off. I worked. And 16 hours a day, every day. That is no crap. I lived either on the floor there was a shed in the back for a while until I had to tear that down to build this little garage. And, this is what I built. It was all of that. The stucco I did myself right after I cut my fingertip off. I remember the lime burning me. This is a 2-story waterfall. As custom and nice as I could make it. And, that was great. It was a great experience because I had to get permits. I had to do this big construction, and I learned a lot about how all that worked, and those skills are invaluable. However, it wasn't the best play. But I did, at the end of that, put 6 figures plus into my pocket. So now I had a nice chunk of cash to go do things with. And, that definitely gets you some momentum. All right. So then what I did is I went and took a road trip and drank a lot of beer. And then by the time I came back, I had, 1698 South Glencoe. Yes, there it is. So I had this in the works, closed on this thing, and it was also not looking like this. This is the work that I did to it. But on this one, I decided that I was going to employ a crew. So I brought a crew in and, started hiring guys straight up. I thought that that's the way that you did it. And, I know a lot of people think this way, that what you need is an internal crew. And, no, managing blue collar guys is one of the most difficult tasks out there. And still to this day, I've been doing it it has been 16 or 17 years. 2010, 2011 was the first. I have been managing people in the blue collar world for that long, and I still haven't figured it out. And, so having a crew that you have to be on all the time, because every time they're working an hour and it's an hour in the wrong direction, it's out of your pocket, is just bleeds you dry, and that's actually what happened on this one here. Sorry. Let me get to it here. Bought the thing for $250,000, sold it a few months later, 6 months later, for $527,500. Okay. So this house here, oh, that was great, right? Another big win here, early on. I'm probably, at that point, like 4 or 5 years in, but remember, I was working the corporate job too. I had just left before that flip before, which was a big, long one. And what happened on this one, I hired this crew. I mean, lots of guys, like I think up to 10 at one point. And I was trying to manage them because my whole plan was that I would do that big pop top one, and then I would understand construction enough to be able to manage these guys. And sure enough, as I was on that project, one of the neighbors came by. They said, "Hey, we're looking to finish out our basement, and was wondering if your company would want to do it." And of course, at that time, I didn't have a construction company. I was just doing construction for my flips. But being opportunistic, I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, we're a construction company." And that's when Paller Construction at the time is what I called it, started. And I took on that job. I went and gave it a hard bid of, I kid you not, $15,000 to do a whole basement. I mean, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, drywall. I mean, I labored over writing this bid, making sure I remembered an egress window that I had to dig out, the paint, the floors. I mean, we're talking like 800 to 1,200 square feet. I don't remember exactly. I mean, for any of you that know, I mean, a just horrendous bid. I got eaten alive on this thing. It cost me a lot more money to do it. But anyway, that launched my construction company. So I was doing the Glencoe, finishing that up. And then I started to get other jobs. And that was helpful because then I started to get that short-term cash flow. And, that kind of replaced my old corporate job. Having short-term cash flow is huge because flipping gives you medium, big swings of cash. And of course, owning rental property gives you the long-term stuff, but it's that short-term that you want to get. So I had Lincoln here, which was I probably put around $150K in my pocket. Okay, remember, I haven't sold any of these yet, so truly it's just money on paper at this point. And then I do Glencoe, and I make probably another $100K or so. Bought it for $250, sold it for $525. Had labor at that point, but actually on that project, I had to fire a bunch of those guys because I just wasn't prepared to take on that sort of payroll, and payroll eats you alive. Then I moved on to my favorite, which was Pontiac. If you guys have been watching my content at all, you know that this one is the one that almost broke me, because this happens to all of us. We're hyper scalers, we're achievers, and you just want to keep doing more and more. So obviously early on, I had a lot of success. I was doing well. Did the pop top, put a lot of money in my pocket, thinking it was my skills that did it, when truly it was just the market. Then I go do Glencoe. Same thing. The market was helping me a lot there. And guys, I was doing a lot of the work myself still. So, you're saving a lot of money on labor. And so I'm thinking I'm a big shot now. And I go take on this big one and got myself pretty cooked. All right. Here it was. I've talked about this a lot on different live streams and different videos, but I'm just going to show you real quick. I mean, one of the prettiest houses you'll see, and as you look at a lot of these, they're pretty houses, guys. I did a lot of work here. This was a pop top. So this is what that house looked like when I bought it. 625 Pontiac. Okay. Built these custom stairs. This was the house when I bought it. That's what it looked like after I was done. Took the roof off of a fully livable freaking house. Still blows my mind that that's what I thought was the smart move. But, you know, you can see it all come together here. Crazy. Yep. Wow. That's great. And this is the one where, guys, across the street, this guy buys the house, and it was like he did this really basic renovation. He was wearing sandals, growing weed in the backyard, and he did all the work himself, and he made 6 figures on that thing. As I ran out of money on mine, had to fire everybody, do all the work myself. Once again, took me a year, had to live there and do it. And I lost all kinds of money on this one because mainly I thought that I could speculate my way into selling this house for $800,000. And gosh, Zillow, I swear, I'm either stupid about using Zillow or they change where they put stuff. Bought the house for $325,000. And I thought I could go to market at $800,000, and really because of the overruns in cost, that would have basically broken me even. And I miscalculated and speculated, and ended up only being able to sell it for $667,500. And I almost quit house flipping at this point. Almost quit real estate. And I want to say a couple things at this point. Okay, I lost $100,000 to $200,000 on this. It's kind of hard to say how much exactly because I wasn't good at keeping track of things at that time. And so I also had the construction company going, and I pressed hard on that because I was losing so much money. I needed to bring money into Pontiac to get it finished. So it's kind of hard to say because I was able to like survive because of all of that. And it's hard to say exactly how much I lost on that. Okay, but also during that time, I had to go back to this one. Oh, sorry, it's not showing. I think I'm frozen on here. But I had to go back to this first one, and I had to go sell it. So I went, as that project was going on, I went back to St. Louis and brought my tools, and I did a little renovation on that first house I bought, sold it for $180,000. So I put a little bit more money in my pocket that went straight into the Pontiac one that I was working on. And I had to sell off one of the other rentals that I had, the duplex, to bring money into that deal. And so that's how I was able to raise the cash. And then I got done with that project, and then I moved on to Chattanooga. That's where I am at now. And I sold off the other triplex. And at that point, I had put, around like $600,000 or $700,000 in my pocket. And just so you guys hear all this, that a lot of that didn't come from the flipping. A lot of that came from getting a property and holding it and letting the market ride. And, that is the lesson here. Real estate always wins over the long term. Flipping can make you some cash, okay, but it's holding the real estate long term. And then anyway, when I got to Chattanooga, so I had this money now, and I was ready to rock. I also burned my credit on the Pontiac, the crappy deal there, because I wasn't able to pay back credit cards and stuff. I did pay back lenders, which served me well because, my lender on that one is actually a business partner of mine now because I made sure to make him whole. Anyway, when I got here, I had that cash. And I was just like, screw credit anyway. I'll just buy all these houses in cash. So I did a couple more flips where I bought the house in cash and I flipped it, made like, 50, 60 grand off each one of these. I think I did 3. And that's when I walked into the house that was boarded up, had poop, mattresses, syringes and stuff in the house. It was through a wholesaler. I bought it for $21,000, did like $30,000 worth of work, still working in cash here at this point. And it appraised for $180,000. And that's what changed everything for me is I just, from then on, I was like, I'm never buying anything off the market again. It's all about getting a great deal on the front end. So I started working wholesalers and then I, met a wholesaler who had a lead for a deal, and I went and negotiated it myself. I bought this house for $11,000, And that was it. That was all she wrote. Then I spun up a wholesale company and started doing the sales myself. And, at that point, at some point, I crossed the line. And then because of the wholesale company, it wasn't like the money from the wholesaling. It was the access to deals. I mean, such good deals, guys, that I remember buying a fully rented duplex. Get it under contract to buy at $38,000. Fully rented duplex at $38,000. Each side was rented for over $1,000 a month. I mean, come on. I sold that thing a year later for $165,000 or $180,000, something like that. You just can't lose when you're getting those kind of deals. And so it took almost a decade for me to go from zero to $1 million. And it was painful, and I learned a lot of things. But you see, what you got there was intuition and skills. That's why, they say like the first million is the toughest. It sure is, because you're like putting all those scars there. You're building up all that scar tissue. But then the next less than 3 years, I 5X'd my money because I knew how to find deals. I knew how to do the construction. You just have the smell when you walk into a house, like I smell something wrong with that house. And, that smell is usually water and sometimes cigarettes and some kind of rat piss. But, you start to develop that intuition. Why did I move to Chattanooga? I'll tell you that my wife and I, we got married. She's from Colorado. I'm not. I'm from Illinois initially, but I was living in Colorado with that corporate job that I left at that time, but I was buying houses. So I met her there. We got married, and we were like, hey, let's go on a 30-day road trip. I had my construction business and such, but I was able to get away because of systems and such, the stuff I teach you guys. And anyway, we went on a 30-day road trip, bought a travel trailer, and we kind of just went wherever. And, truly we were like thinking in the back of our heads, we want to find maybe somewhere else because we want to have a family. And quite honestly, didn't feel like that was the spot to have a family. We were looking for somewhere that was more family forward. And but we didn't know where. And we stayed at Raccoon Mountain in Chattanooga just as a pass-through, basically, and loved it and bought a house. Like literally, we went out looking at houses the next day, had something under contract to buy. I was buying in cash at that time, and so closed like less than a week later. We went back to Denver. I closed up my construction company, sold that other triplex, and then we came here. And the house that I bought was a shithole. And had to fix it up. So I fixed it up. She was, we were living in a travel trailer as I fixed it up, and here we are. Never left because it is a great market and it was a great time. That's how we ended up in Chattanooga. Anybody else got questions? Oh, hey, I wanted to see if this worked. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Look, I've been seeing that button the whole time. I don't know how to live stream, guys. I'm just up here talking. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. My man, dude. Yeah, my old man's from Chicago. I'm actually from I'm from Southern Illinois, so like an hour south of Springfield, more like cornfields. My actual town had 50 people in it, Butler, Illinois. But my whole family lives in Springfield still, so cool. Midwestern guys, I'll tell you, different breed. I'm biased, but let's see. How do I make this thing go away now? Oh, there it is. Look at that. I'm a live streamer now. What do you guys think? Anything else out there? Thanks for the birthday wishes. No smoke. Appreciate you. Yeah, I got a meeting with my business partner who runs the mechanical electrical plumbing company. So we got to go over the jobs that I have the mechanical electrical plumbing company on, but also we, of course, an actual L10 traction style meeting. If you guys are into that. Lacrosse. All right. Gotcha. Great, man. Glad to have you here. Anybody else got anything? I got a couple minutes and I'm getting out of here. Hey, I see there's some folks on Twitter on here. Hey guys, just started streaming on Twitter. I have no clue. Seems awesome though. I've always been a YouTube guy. Glad to see the Twitter folks. I think Twitter guys are smart, you know. A lot of stuff you can read on there. I'm serious. I love Twitter. That's my social media of choice, and YouTube. I've pretty much learned everything I know off YouTube. How do you deal with wet basements? Well, it depends how the water's coming in. But, you know, it's the same framework that I use for any like structural types of things. So you have bleeding is number one, you know, so you got to find like where water is coming in and then stop the bleeding. But the bleeding has probably done damage. So then you look for like actual structural damage, like safety and liability types of issues. Maybe it caused mold, maybe it caused wood to be destroyed, and you know now you have actual structural deficiencies in the house. You got to go fix those things accordingly. And then the third is cosmetic. So a lot of times you fix the bleeding, and actually like the stuff just looks bad. It's not actually structurally deficient. So then it's just like a cleanup job. And you know, a lot of people will say that you're like cutting corners at that point, but it's like, no, man, if it's not like a safety issue, it's just dirty. So I cleaned it. But yeah, you got to stop. You got to figure out how the water's getting in. So water finds its way. I mean, that's a whole thing. But yeah, here in Chattanooga, I mean, that's why I love Chattanooga, because like everything that can destroy a house lives here. And so there's lots of opportunity to buy those houses. And if you have the skills to fix them up, hey, why don't you restart your construction business? Wouldn't it be more active income? Yeah, so I did when I lived out here. I mean, I was doing $5 million a year on the construction company. I do like 50 plus projects in a year. I don't like it. You know, I'm all about the freedom. And real estate brings freedom. Did a whole video on that, but you know, there's no reviews to worry about. There's no like people calling me. There's no none of that, and that is not worth it to me. That's really what it comes down to. There's certainly lots of other ways to make money, and they're just not worth it to me. Real estate, I can do what I want. My kids can see me doing what I want, you know, what true freedom looks like. And that is the most important thing to me, hands down, even if it means a little bit less money. But it could also mean a shit ton of money depending on how you do it. Hey, guys, I'm going to be late for that meeting. It's right downstairs in my office, but I still got to walk there. Hey, guys, thank you. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Glad you guys from Twitter are on there. Check it out. I don't think I link there, but I have a free the solo house flipper community on school if you guys want to check that out, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Hey.